to explain a little bit more about this idea of memories being reconstructions and how that fits into memory of September 11th. I thought it would be a pretty good idea to explain a little bit more. The video times, they kind of clock out at 15 minutes, and I wanted to make sure I had enough time to explain to you exactly what happened with this phenomenon. So, in terms of the events as we know them, a plane hit the very first tower, the South Tower of the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. And then after that, a plane hit the second tower. Now, the plane hitting the first tower was not captured on videotape. And so, unless you were living in New York, there was no way that you would have seen video footage of that first tower ever being hit. Most people only saw footage of the second tower being hit while reporters were reporting on that first tower being hit, and then you see footage of the plane coming through and hitting the second tower. But because of the way that we know about this event now, knowledge about the event has changed how we remember it. And that means that many people falsely recall seeing video footage of that very first tower being hit, even though that's not actually possible. So our knowledge and what we later learn about events can be used to affect how we remember them. So for example, in cognitive psychology, I'm actually teaching my students about something that's called consistency bias. So for example, you utilize the way that you're kind of feeling right now, and that changes how you view an event back then. So for example, um, if you asked me when I was in high school if my memories of high school were pretty good, I'd probably say, well, yeah, of course. But now that I've experienced much better things outside of high school, when I look back on my high school memories, I might say they're not as good as I thought they were. They weren't what I remembered them to be. They weren't that great. So I use how I'm feeling right now and I modify my memories of an event to justify how I'm feeling then. So, for example, let's say we have a married couple and they end up divorcing. Now, somebody who is going through the middle of a rough divorce, thinking very badly of their ex partner, they might look back at a happy memory and say, that was bad, it was a lie. They'll say that the memory wasn't as happy as they remember it to kind of justify, well, we divorced, obviously we weren't happy, so any happy memories that we had are now viewed through the lens of that unhappiness. So we try to appear consistent and make our memories match how we feel now. Um, so memories are often embellished. That's especially true when there are stories and memories that we like to tell over and over, especially if they're for entertainment value. The more that our goal is to entertain, the more that we're going to add details to that memory that may not have actually happened. But hey, they tell a really good story, right? So the more that you embellish these details, the more and more that those details and embellishments, the more you retell the story, the more that those embellishments get incorporated into the actual memory and they distort the way you remember it. And here's one other thing that you may not have ever thought of. If you look back to a memory of yours, here's my question for you. Are you viewing it as if you can't see your face? Because I walk around right now and I can't actually see my face. The only way I can see my face is by looking at me on the webcam right now. But I can't actually see myself. So are you viewing it from a first person perspective, like you're just looking through your own eyes? Or are you viewing it from a third person observer perspective? Is the memory you watching yourself, but outside of yourself? That's evidence that you've clearly reconstructed something because, for the most part, we have no idea what we look like unless we're looking through a camera or a mirror or through video footage. We experience everything with a first person perspective. And so, if you're viewing a memory, but it's like you're watching yourself as an actor on the stage or observing yourself on stage, that would mean you had to reconstruct it at that point. So, anyway, just something to think about. We can talk about this more at the study session on Sunday, and I will see you then.